So, I mean, it's no secret right now that at the time of making this video, the West Coast Eagles are in quite a bit of a mess, unfortunately. Again, there have been a lot of things that have just overall gone wrong this year. Again, injuries to the wrong players. I wouldn't say it's a massive, massive injury list compared to what some of the other teams have had to deal with, but just arguably injuries to their two most important players in Jeremy McGovern, of course, being injured to the point where now he has to retire. Jake Waterman as well. Again, even Oscar Allen, who I haven't really mentioned, he's been injured a lot throughout the year. And just the three blokes you desperately needed to help lead this massive, young core going forward, especially throughout this year. And it just wasn't there. Again, it was one of the big reasons they've struggled all year. Is I think the wrong players being injured. And then you've got a lot of the young players who just haven't necessarily come on to what a lot of people thought they were going to. A lot of veterans like Tim Kelly who are continuously just dropping off, unfortunately, and not living up to what I think a lot of people were expecting from them this year. Again, a ton of different problems with West Coast to the point where at the time making this video, they've won one game. They also are reportedly going to be asking the AFL for an assistance package, which, in my opinion, I don't think they should be getting. I've actually seen a lot of West Coast fans flat out just saying, look, we shouldn't be getting one either. We're one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in the AFL. Teams like North Melbourne get assistant packages because, again, one of the reasons they're in a big disaster is because they can't attract players and all this. West Coast can. They've attracted some good players even, like a Liam Baker. It is a really weird situation, but unfortunately they have gotten themselves into the situation where they will be asking, it looks like, for that assistant package. But there's still a lot of ways that West Coast can fix what is happening right now. Again, they're going to go into the 2025 draft with not only pick 1, but pick 2 as well. Again, Oscar Allen is supposed to be leaving in the free agency, and with the reported contract he's going to be getting offered, they will be getting pick number 2 to go alongside pick 1. Again, if the assistance package goes through and they do get it, I don't think they will get another top 3 pick, but they probably will get an end of first round pick, probably a future first round pick next year, maybe something else. Again, they're not looking exactly too bad in the draft. But I think one thing they need to actually look at this year, and I think they will hopefully, is actually improving on their depth. Again, I think in the last couple of years, West Coast have had a major depth problem. They've had probably the worst depth in the AFL over the last 3 to 4 years, and they just haven't really brought in enough players to fix this. Again, they tried to bring in Matt Owies and Jack Graham. They helped a tiny bit. Specifically, Jack Graham's actually had a pretty good year. But again, even 2 players outside of Liam Baker weren't anywhere near enough to what they should have, of course, brought in. Again, as it is being reported right now, not only do they still have a player in Liam Ryan who could potentially be looking for a trade, but there are a lot of players that they are going to be looking and exploring from other teams to, of course, try and get in. Again, I talked about it on the channel before. West Coast are going to have a stab in the dark to try and get Darcy Cameron. Again, I don't think Collingwood are going to let him go and let him be traded. But at the end of the day, considering West Coast look like they're going to be taking Cooper Duff-Tyler at pick 1, the 18-year-old ruckman, it would be great to partner him up with a late, experienced ruckman to, go forward and help him out. Again, West Coast did this years and years ago where they had Dean Cox and they selected, Nick Nat, and they had both of them playing together. That is probably what they're going to be trying to do, have Cameron and Duff-Tyler play together, but it probably won't happen. Again, there is a little report going around, though, that they are interested in a couple players. Again, there have been some very strong rumors going out that they could be looking at Alex Davies from the Gold Coast Suns and Blake Acres from Carlton. With it being said, there's some rumors going around that Alex Davies is unhappy at the Suns and wants to look elsewhere for more midfield opportunities. Eagles are keeping an eye on him. Blake Acres is also another name going around with people saying he's wanting to leave Carlton at season end. Eagles are one of 4 clubs keeping an eye on him. Again, it is true that some clubs have expressed interest in Blake Acres, Blake Acres has actually been a massive unsung hero for the last couple of years. Again, he's having a terrible year this year, but in his first 2 years with Carlton, he was elite for them. And then in the last year for Fremantle, he was also elite for them. Again, I don't think one season should really define who Blake Acres is. I mean, should West Coast trade for him? I personally wouldn't, because I think West Coast should more so be trying to hit that age range of 23 to 26. The players just going into their primes, or the players about to go into their primes that are looking for more opportunities. Again, Alex Davies is the perfect player. Alex Davies, I don't know how, Gold Coast is that stacked right now. He just hasn't been able to get a game in their midfield, which is arguably nearly the best in the competition. But Alex Davies is elite. I mean, in his first game with the Gold Coast Suns, he had 30 disposals or something like that and looked absolutely phenomenal. And that's his first game this year, I should clarify. Again, in the VFL the whole time as well, he's been absolutely killing it. And he's a very young player who is absolutely looking for more opportunity. And I'm telling you right now, if he was to go into this West Coast midfield, I think he would almost go in and be their best midfielder nearly straight away. That's how good I think Alex Davies is. Again, Harley Reid will probably be better next year. I think, Davies is pretty on par with him right now. Liam Baker is more of a halfback. But they really don't have any midfielders, West Coast. And the midfielders they do have, a lot of them are playing out of position in there, or just aren't playing that good in there, like a Tim Kelly. Alex Davies is the real deal. And I have a feeling if he was to come to West Coast, he could average 25 disposals a game straight up next year and be really a great addition for them. Again, that's not the only player I think they'll be looking at from Gold Coast. Gold Coast have a ton of players right now playing in their VFL who should just probably be getting a game. I mean, Malcolm Roses literally just kicked 4 goals against Richmond as a small forward. He might be getting delisted. If not, you could probably trade a future 4th round pick for him, and he would get a game every week for the West Coast and be a good pickup. You've also got Ned Moyle, who I think could actually be a pretty good ruckman in the game. I definitely like him a lot more than West Coast current ruckmans right now. He could be one they look at. Again, there's going to be a lot of players like that. But Blake Acres, in my opinion, I think he is a little bit too much on that older side for me, and I don't think that is the direction that I would go if I was West Coast. Again, another report here is saying as well that St Kilda has been linked to small forward Liam Ryan, and it is believed that Liam Ryan will be seeking a trade at season's end, which is being reported by Tom Morris. Again, in my opinion as well, I know West Coast fans absolutely love Liam Ryan. He's been one of their best players for them this year and has been, pretty much nearly their best forward throughout a lot of the games that he's played. I think in saying all of that, he doesn't really fit their time, their time zone right now. And if I could get a late first round pick for Liam Ryan, which I'd believe you'd be able to try and get out of St Kilda. Again, I don't know if they have it now, but they could try and trade for it, obviously. I think it would be a great move to maybe make this happen. Again, as I said, I think West Coast, they're moving in a direction now where a lot of the older players are going. You had a McGovern go, you had a Dom Sheed go. They're probably going to have another player or two go here and there as well. Again, I think it's really time to move on some of these older players and finally bring in, as I said, those players heading into their prime or are just in their prime, like an Alex Davies. If you can bring an end of first round pick in for a Liam Ryan and use that to maybe go out and trade for an Alex Davies and maybe a Malcolm Roses, get both of those players back for an end of first round pick, I mean, that would be perfect, because I think Alex Davies would be the most perfect player that West Coast could probably target in this year's trade period. Again, there's going to be other players. You watch. There'll be other players on teams who are, quite frankly, struggling to get a game right now, who could be really, really good at West Coast. I mean, I'm looking at a Cam McKenzie who's playing for Hawthorn right now, who's 21 years of age, just had 28 disposals for the Hawks VFL. I mean, that would be a great one. Sam Butler, who's 22 years of age. I've spoken about him on the channel before. I think he could be a seriously good player in the AFL, and he would also be another great one for them to go for. Henry Hustwaite for the Hawks as well. 21-year-old, 6'4" inside midfielder. There are so many options of these really young players who are struggling to get a game in these really good teams who are going to be looking for more opportunity elsewhere to go ahead and develop. I mean, like, could you imagine an off-season where West Coast maybe traded Liam Ryan, but were able to bring in like an Alex Davies, a Sam Butler, and a Malcolm Roses? Again, Malcolm Roses being the long-term replacement for Liam Ryan, I think he could possibly do it. And then you added like a Sam Butler to that forward line as well. You added Alex Davies to that midfield. Bits and pieces, the little building blocks, pick 1 and pick 2. I think that's the direction, in my opinion, that West Coast should go, rather than holding on to an older player like Liam Ryan who has trade value, or targeting an older guy like Blake Acres. It's just not the moves that I would do. I think it's finally time for them to go younger, and I believe that's where they'll be going. And I think they might actually be a little bit busy in this upcoming trade period, targeting players like I've just previously mentioned, and I think that's exactly the direction they need to go. They've been too silent and too vigilant for a couple years now. It's time to push and convince these very elite young fringe players who are starving for opportunity and who could be very good AFL players to come to your team. So again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all the latest AFL content, AFL videos, all of the above. Comment what you guys think. Who should West Coast target? All of the above. Again, subscribe to my gaming/movie channel, which will be linked down below. My Instagram, which will be linked down below as well. And I guess I'll be seeing you guys next time. Goodbye.